Only support winners, bro. Only support winners. We don't support losers. All right. But I'll tell you what, man, oh man, Missouri lawmakers renew a push to regulate Delta-8 THC hemp products, you guys. Oh man. They're coming for your Delta-8, so a Republican state senator has filed legislation to renew last spring's failed effort to regulate intoxicating hemp products in Missouri, such as Delta-8 drinks and edibles. Delta-8 THC products can be sold in stores in Missouri because the intoxicating ingredient THC is derived from hemp, not marijuana, which is a controlled substance, these guys. And hemp is federally legal. Obviously, no one ever read the definition of the Controlled Substances Act before writing this. There's no state or federal law saying teenagers or children can't buy them on or stores can't sell them to minors, though some stores and vendors have taken it upon themselves to impose age restrictions of 21 years and up. And there's no requirement to list potential effects on the label or test how much THC is actually in them. Excuse me. State Senator Nick Schroyer, a Republican from O'Fallon, who chairs the legislative committee that oversees Missouri's marijuana rules, said the products are too easily accessible to children, particularly teenagers. In quotes, he says, "I've had constituents reaching out to me saying their kids had been hospitalized," Schroyer said. Schroyer's bill would task the Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services with regulating these products, as the agency clearly does for the state's marijuana program, and products would have to be sold at DHSS licensed dispensaries. State Rep Chad Perkins, a Bowling Green Republican, has filed a companion bill in the House. DHSS spokeswoman Lisa Cox said the department does not take positions on proposed bills. And in quotes, however, she said, "We do acknowledge the potential and ongoing public health impact of unregulated THC products." Over the past few years, Cox said there has been an increase in children's going to the hospital for cannabis exposure. In quotes, "The department has increased its emphasis on regulatory mechanisms that protect health and children in order to minimize any contribution of the regulated cannabis market to such incidents." She said also, "As of right now, there is no such protective framework for unregulated THC products." Well, of course they aren't. They're unregulated, lady. Sean Hackman, president of the Missouri Hemp Trade Association, and his organization advocates for measures such as prohibiting sales to minors and mandating clear user instructions and rigorous product testing, in quotes. "While any overdose report, especially those involving minors, is deeply concerning, this does not constitute a public health emergency, but rather an opportunity for improved regulation," Hackman said in an email to the Independent in response to the legislation. The association opposes tasking the department with regulating the products and requiring them to be sold in dispensaries. A similar bill filed by Republican State Representative Curtis Gregory of Marshall got stuck in committee during the last legislative session. And during a hearing on the bill, both Republican and Democratic lawmakers pushed back on the idea of forcing the hemp industry under the umbrella of DHSS, saying that would allow the marijuana monopoly to take over the market given the limited number of licenses for dispensaries available. After voters passed a constitutional amendment allowing medical marijuana in 2018, competition for licenses became fierce when the state capped the number of applicants it would approve, initially issuing 338 licenses to sell, grow, and process marijuana. Widespread reports of irregularities in how applications were scored fueled criticism of the industry and accusations that insiders were building a monopoly. That criticism spilled over into the campaign to legalize adult use cannabis last year, though the proposal still won voter approval. Some applicants who didn't land medical marijuana licenses turned to producing hemp-derived THC products. Another concern critics had last year was that the hemp is federally legal, and lumping it in with the regulations of a controlled substance could result in lawsuits, they said. Schroyer said he'll be closely watching the ongoing legal case of Robertsville-based marijuana manufacturer Delta Extraction. Delta Extraction had its license to manufacture cannabis products revoked in November, months after a massive recall pulled pulled more than 60,000 products off the shelves, which the state says were illegally made with a hemp-derived THC concentrate imported from out of state. While hemp is federally legal, state regulators argue that once hemp-derived THC comes into the marijuana realm, they can regulate it. The question currently before the Administrative Hearing Commission is whether or not Missouri regulators have the authority to prohibit licensed companies from infusing marijuana-grown marijuana products with hemp-derived THC. These guys got it so twisted. If the company loses its appeal before the commission, then Delta-8 will continue to fight in court, the company's attorneys have said. And Delta will be arguing that the state has no authority to regulate hemp products at all. In quotes, the Division of Cannabis Regulatory Authority to regulate is limited to non-hemp marijuana and does not depend on whether it is used to make THC. Delta's attorney Chuck Hartfield wrote in a recent letter to the department. Schroyer said his proposed legislation will be mindful of the court's decision in the case, and in quotes, we're still going to use this judicial guidance to craft a type of law compliant with the case law, he said. That's going to protect the youth of our state and any type of consumer of these types of products. In September, a federal judge in Arkansas sided with hemp companies in granting a preliminary injunction on a state law similar to the one Schroyer and Perkins have proposed aimed at regulating hemp-derived THC products. U.S. District Court Judge Billy Roy Wilson said if Arkansas wants to participate in the federal hemp program, then it can pick and choose which parts of the law it wants to follow. Despite the preliminary court order in Arkansas, Schroyer said he's not convinced the federal government has the authority to prevent state legislators from passing laws to regulate intoxicating cannabinoids. And in quotes, when you're putting these things into the stream of commerce and you look at the 10th Amendment, he said, there's really nothing in the U.S. Constitution that says we can't clearly legislate this type of issue. They say, well, Delta-8 is going down in Missouri. And what do you guys have to say about this? And this is Jason Beck for the High at 9 News. What do y'all think?
Delta-8.
They got the lawyers involved now.
Right,
They're
Dale?
split every hair. We're trying to define a gray area and split every hair. And if you can make money making a left-hand turn and putting that shit on the market and claim they can't do anything to me, good luck. Pay my attorney's fees, I'll argue whatever the hell you want me to argue.
Did anyone ever notice that when Jason talks about Missouri, he sounds like a South Park reject?
I can't help it.
I did hear the Cartman there.
Yes.
Respect my authority.
Yes, you will respect my authority. It's because it is Missouri.
Yeah, Delta-8 ain't going nowhere, man.
Cartman Beck.
People can pay, just like Dale said, be paying a whole bunch of legal fees.
Yeah, exactly.
Lawyers Full Employment Act. Love it.
I do like the argument that they're using, the anti-monopoly argument to keep Delta-8 in gas stations. I thought that was a really nice touch. Creative argument.
Make Delta-8.
That was written on a bathroom wall somewhere where a guy was taking a shit that's a lawyer and went, that sounds good. I'll bring that one up.
Dale, I got
an idea now.
Dale, I'm curious as to your thoughts in regards to the last statement there when he's talking in regards to the stream of commerce and the 10th Amendment. And he's saying that there's really nothing that the U.S. Constitution says that clearly legislates this type of issue.
Well, the federal government split jurisdiction back in 1970 with the states. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that has a lot of traction because we've had arguments in this state about whether federal law preempts state law, and our state Supreme Court or our state courts took a position, and hell no. We have the right under that grant of authority to pass our own public health laws. These are traditional police powers, okay? But I can't pass a law in California to make it federally legal. That's a difference here. And again, this is first year law school shit. Can you think up something to put on your answer to your question and charge somebody for it? This ain't going to solve anything because we have to have the federal government step in. Stop playing this game that, it's got Delta-9 as opposed to Delta-8 and, all that kind of shit. It's come from hemp or not. Stop it. It's nonsense, okay? THC is THC. It has a psychoactive effect.
That's right. It's all cannabis sativa L under the Controlled Substances Act. It's all got the same
It
definition.
absolutely is.
You know what, Dale? I think there's a great advertising opportunity for all those Delta-8 guys out there to go ahead and take a Sharpie and put your product name on the inside of bathroom stalls at the gas station.
There you go.
You know what? There you go. I
did not have a good time, right?
I have mixed feelings on this, on the whole Delta-8 like situation, and like I know in certain states where you can't get cannabis, it's making inroads into, you know, cannabis acceptance and normalization and things like that. But like this, it's hard for me to say like, hey, Delta-8, like get behind it, because to me it's not. You're not really experiencing the plant. You're experiencing some like synthetic form that they've placeboed you into thinking is doing all these miraculous things. The plant does have miraculous things that can happen, but they don't really, I don't see them happening on these Delta-8 drinks and things like that. But to your point, Jason, about the 10th Amendment and the states' rights to pass their own laws, I think this is like one of the principles of federalism. This is one of the principles that our founders put into the Constitution, to be able to have the states become laboratories. And when these states are laboratories of democracy, they are able to show the rest of the states kind of the path forward. And I think that we've been doing that. And I think that we will continue to do that on the cannabis front, because I think the states are continuing to lead the way here.
That part.
Yeah, I mean, especially in legal states, Luke, this is great points, Luke. Especially in legal states, I'm like, when I see Delta-8 like out, whether it's a gas station or not, I see it more as aimed at people who can't get into dispensaries. I'm stopping just short of saying this is targeted directly at kids, but if you don't need an ID,
what you're saying is there's not a height limit on the shelf.
Right.
Is that what you're saying,
right
Rico?
Right on.
Yes, it's like next to the Bubblicious bubble gum. In that little aisle.
If you're in Texas, right? If you're in Texas and you see this shit right when you check out at the gas station and everything, and they don't ask you for ID, nothing there, like it makes me believe that you're targeting at a certain audience.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody that lives in a state where we don't have legal dispensaries and all we have are Delta-8 and CBD edibles and flower and vapes and whatever you want at every gas station. What was that, Jason?
I was going to say, you guys have the trap at every single cell phone.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But I guess I think I don't think it's a great product, Delta-8 and Delta-10. I don't encourage my friends that live here to smoke it. I don't think we know the long-term effects of what consuming Delta-8 for an extended period of time will do. Right. That being said, I think the value in it is that it's creating such ambiguity at a federal level, but it's putting pressure on both state and federal government to at least have a conversation about it, which is more than can be said for the past 10 years at this point. But yeah, I don't know. I think the ambiguity it creates is ultimately going to help push the conversation forward.
And on that, we got to keep this train rolling.